Hello. We're back. We're doing toy stuff. And now we're done with top 10 lists. And so, I figured let's get a new set. Let's stop worrying about the fucking sun. 'Cause the sun sucks. I hate that guy. And I'm going way off script. So yeah, I don't know. I really wanted to do something new now that I'm done with lists and I feel like I've gotten who I am as a toy collector out of the way. So I made a new set that's 5 feet from the old one. So that's cool. So we're gonna have a good day. I have just rolled out of bed. I'm in sweatpants. I got my taco socks on. And, we're gonna have a good day. We're gonna talk about toys. And I'm gonna yell about DC figures. Let's not waste any more time. Okay, and then I'm gonna pause and, okay. And then these are all of my DC figures. I don't even remember what I was saying. That took so fucking long. Okay, so today I really wanted to go over all the DC lines that I have. I definitely don't have all of them. There's probably a ton of stuff back from like early 2000s and 90s that I don't even have a single figure of, and that's okay. But as far as like comic DC figures go, I feel like I've got a pretty good spread, and so I wanted to talk about all of those today. Let's start with DC Icons, because I really liked DC Icons. I thought it was a great line. I thought they had great articulation. They were a little on the short side, and that's okay, because most of my figures are imports anyway, and they really matched up with that. They were really only short in comparison to like Marvel Legends, which is it's not 1/12 scale. It's like 6.5 inch scale, I guess is what you would call it. But DC Icons were a lot closer to true 1/12 scale. So I liked them for that reason, because I like things to match up with my imports. They had a great articulation scheme, but it wasn't that well done. See, they have both a diaphragm joint and an ab crunch, which is that's the same as the Hasbro Lightning Collection Power Rangers. So obviously, since I love that line, I'm gonna love that scheme. But it don't. It don't move that much. It don't crunch as much as it needs to. This top one's not really for forward movement. It's kind of a turn, but at the same time it isn't. So it definitely gets negative marks for that. But otherwise, I thought they were doing good stuff. I liked them. They didn't do a lot of big people, which I like my big people. But they did fine stuff, especially at the end. They were doing drop down hips, which drop down hips are great. I'm a big fan. That's probably my favorite hip style. I don't know what that is. I also thought they did female figures great. I have a super girl here, and she's wonderful. And I wouldn't even say like they're to scale with the male figures, but put up against like figures from other lines, I don't feel like they're too short, if that makes sense. Like I have a Harley that works, and then there's a Batgirl, she's right there. I think that's all the DC Icons females that I have, unfortunately, because I think they'd make great female figures. And then the line got canceled right before they made my boy Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. Not Jaime Blue Beetle. They were gonna make Ted Kord Blue Beetle, which I prefer Ted Kord. I think he's awesome. They were also gonna make Etrigan and I think a Deadshot. They're gonna make a lot of stuff. They're gonna make a lot of cool stuff, and I was excited. For DC Icons. And then they canceled it. And you want to know what they canceled it for? They canceled it for these big old gorillas. Of course he stands. That's going to contradict me later, but don't worry about it. Moving on, DC Essentials is what came next from DC Direct, DC Collectibles. DC Collectibles, that's the brand. DC Collectibles next made Essentials, which are these big honking boys. These are like 7-inch scale. I don't like 7-inch scale. It doesn't scale with anything else in my I have a few NECA. I guess that's not true. Either way, it's just not a scale that I prefer. Especially not these. They got gorilla arms. They're way too long. You need to take off like an inch relatively. I don't know what the exact specifications are for how much you need to take off, but you need to take off a good amount for this to look like a decent arm. These are okay articulation. Cheetah's pretty good. I'm gonna get to her in a second, but I wanted to go over the male body because these are all the same. They literally recycle every single thing here and use it. This is a headless Batman. They're the same fucking figure. Different cape, a couple different sculpting things. Why do I have this headless Batman? I don't know. That wasn't a throw. You guys expect a throw. Could have made more noise, but that works. So they have okay articulation. Double joints everywhere. Thigh swivel, boot swivel. The fuck? I'm leaving it. Fuck it. Y'all are gonna have to be fine with a couple figures falling over behind me. So DC Essentials. Okay articulation. Double joints everywhere. I already said that. Still got the wrists. No butterfly articulation anywhere on any of these, but neither did DC Icons, so I guess if I'm not going to knock that one for it, I can't knock them for it. Switch back to one, it's just an ab crunch this time. It is not, ooh. But it gets a lot deeper than DC Icons. Like, Shaman, look at that. He goes, he crunches. He does the crunch. So that's pretty cool. They've got okay articulation. I don't like these ankles. Now I like the ankle setup. I think it's cool to have a little ball joint there on the ankle. I enjoy that. It's a ball joint with the ankle pivot. So it's like aimed at an angle into the ankle. That was cool to say. And then it's on a ball joint, which you can rotate all around the place. I like the setup, but DC Essentials does not do a good job of that setup. They have a tendency to not want to stand, and then when they do, they get these awkward ass poses like this. It's just like I literally cannot even stand up Wonder Woman. She has to be on a stand. She has to be. To be in my collection. She has to be on a stand because she will not stand on her own. And so that's one thing I don't like. And then there's Cheetah, and Cheetah's really good. I'm a little bit ashamed of how much I like this figure. Really good paint app. She doesn't have those ankles. She just has normal domestic ankles. It's just the toe? No, not the toe. It's just movement at the ankle and then ankle pivot, which is nice. You know, she's got a good crunch that doesn't. It's not like the male crunch where you can see the hinges at the side. It's a diaphragm. It's not a crunch. Double joints everywhere. She's got a good head sculpt in my opinion. She's got this tail, and you know, it's a tail, and tails are cool. Makes me sound like a furry. And I really like her, and she, as you could see before, she gets real deep. Like, she has like no problem squatting. Just like that, and she'll stay like that forever and not fall over. So yeah, I like Cheetah. The rest of DC Essentials I'm not crazy about. I'm just really upset that they canceled DC Icons for this line. That still just peeves me. It upsets me to no end because DC Icons were great and I really liked them, even though they broke sometimes. I've got a Lex Luthor back there that his hand came off. It just comes off sometimes. They weren't the strongest, But if you're not a ham hands, they're pretty good. I'm gonna go all the way back. This whole thing's way out of order. I'm gonna talk about DC Direct figures. I got a couple. Most of them are big boys because I like big boys. But this is a DC Direct Deadshot. This thing's not great. This thing's basically a statue. No ankle pivot, no double joints anywhere. He does have bicep swivel, no ab crunch. His head only rotates. It does not, there's no dip, there's no neck to rotate. And that's, I'm wrong. Shit. Oh well, I like being wrong sometimes. Okay, so he does have a little bit of neck movement, okay? It's really just not that much though. Nothing on the wrist. He just has like this wrist swivel, I guess. He doesn't do the crank. I don't think these figures are all that great. I think the big ones are better because they're big and you don't expect big things to have all that much movement. But as far as little guys, normal sized guys, whatever, no, I don't like them. I don't like them. And they're not, I don't think they're as big as Essentials. Let me see. Yeah, they're close. So they're too big. If they're close to Essentials, they're too big. Because I don't like Essentials. Man, let's go to Mezco. Mezco figures are yuck. I've talked about this before. You shouldn't be surprised. I don't like Mezcos. I have Darkseid, and I prefer him to this guy, but this guy's here. This is John Stewart. I like John. I very much like John. He's my favorite Green Lantern, exclusively from Justice League, from the TV show. I love him. So I mean, I kind of bought John Mezco. I kind of bought John here just because he was John. They still haven't released. Wow, Hal Jordan. I don't know if I'll get him. Probably not. I'm really trying to not buy any more Mezcos ever. But he's okay. He's the least offensive Mezco I think I've had in a long time. But yeah, really the only thing I have to complain about Mezcos is I don't like the cloth and I don't like the body underneath. It doesn't have a lot of butterfly movement. But this one's fine as far as articulation goes. You know, double joints on everything. Gets a decent amount of crunch. Ankles are still a little iffy. That's a problem on like all Mezcos. Overall, he's okay. A lot of the other DC male figures I've gotten have been a lot like him. I had a Batman. I had a Batman Beyond. Joker sucks. And then all the females are poop. They're dumb and they're poop. Single joints everywhere. Barely any movement. They suck. Mezco are okay. They're also freaking expensive, which I guess I'm not one to complain about. I'm fine shelling out money for a decent figure. But just for what I get, I'm not crazy about them. Doesn't this thing light up? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. Who cares? I'm done talking about Mezco. Hopefully forever. Okay, and then before I got a few more things to do. But before I get to my last one, I wanted to talk about something else. And that's that, whatever that old adage is that if you can't get good DC figures, you gotta make them. And so I'm talking about customs. This is the only excuse I'm ever gonna have to talk about the 3 custom figures I've made. So yeah, I had to make some custom figures for characters that I didn't feel were given to me in a good representation. I have a Bane here that's made from a Storm Collectibles Hulk Hogan. He's definitely my favorite. I used to have cloth pants on him, and then I was like, I don't like these cloth pants. I'm fine with a cloth shirt, but I don't like these cloth pants. So I took them off, and I painted his pants I painted, there were like some stripes on the side, whatever. I like Bane, and this is more of like a first appearance before he gets really venomed out. Bane, and I like that era because Nightfall. I love Nightfall. Nightfall is like, it's cheesy and it's 90s, but I like it. It's an enjoyable read for me. And then Bane disappears and he fights Azrael for like 2/3 of the whole thing. I made a Nightwing. This is from a Marvel Legends Night Thrasher. I know nothing about Night Thrasher, but I had to get him to make Kingpin because I like Kingpin, and it was like $90 to make him, so whatever. So I used this because it was spare, and then I got the multiverse for the head. I spent too much money, but whatever. It's an okay Nightwing. He's showing his age. He's having some paint issues as of late, collecting some dust, but he's okay until someone else makes me a Nightwing that's properly scaled. He'll be fine. Then there's a Red Hood. He's kind of my least favorite as far as my customs go, just because I made him when I was really into Mezcos, and now I'm not, and he still like resembles a Mezco, and so that's kind of an issue for me. But I like him more than I like a lot of Mezcos, so there's that. He's on a Articulated Icons. Yeah, whatever that Fwoosh brand is. These are okay. They're a little short. So he scales better with the DC icons that I have than with literally anything else. But he's okay. All the custom cloth goods are from GPS Lot on eBay. I buy a lot of stuff from them. They make good stuff. Cloth goods. They're fine when they're done in moderation. This one's covered in them, so I wouldn't say that that's moderation. But those are my custom figures. I like them. It's not like DC was ever going to give me proper figures for these guys anyway, so. Fuck. Shh. So I had to make them. And I'm okay with that. I really like Bane. I'm going to leave Bane there in the corner of the shot, because I like Bane. I like him. Last one I wanted to talk about was DC Multiverse. This one's kind of been talked about a lot recently. And I'll get into some of that later, but for now, I'm talking about Mattel. And, DC Multiverse and DC Universe Classics. I'm going to talk about both of these, because I think both got a lot to be talked about. So first off was, oh, you're dusty. First off was DC Universe Classics. I don't know if that was the first DC line that Mattel ever did. It's the first one that I ever looked at. For how old these figures are, I'm okay with them, if that makes sense. No ankle pivot, single joints everywhere. They got random ass cuts and weird ass hips. But given the time, I'm okay with them. I like Martian Manhunter, and nobody else is giving me a Martian Manhunter. So I guess I'm gonna have to settle with this guy. But he's okay. He has a lot of things that I criticize a lot of other lines for doing wrong in my eyes. But they did it wrong like 15 fucking years ago. So, I'm more willing to forgive them because action figures were just not up to that standard at the time. The other thing is they have a lot of great collect and connects. I've got two of them. I've got Stripe is his name, and Kilowog. Both of those I think are pretty cool. They're big, they're hunky, they're big. So there's some big boys, and I like big boys. So those are cool. And then they stopped doing Universe Classics, and then they did Multiverse, but they did it too small. And then they started to do Multiverse at a proper scale, but it's still too big. I'm gonna always complain about everything. These are both from the last line, or from the last wave. I just realized that, but that's whatever. Robin's kind of like what I talk about afterwards. So they had a lot of single joints still. when they moved over to Multiverse. And you know, this one's on the He-Man body. I don't like that He-Man body. I have talked about how I don't like the He-Man body before. This one is kind of cool though, because he has some like, the fuck. I broke him for a sec, but now he's good. Yeah, so I really don't like that He-Man body. I think it has its own set of problems that I'd rather not get into. But this one's okay. I like the stuff that they did to cover up it, and I like their custom sculpting on the boots and on everything. Still just not a body that I particularly enjoy, and that's a lot of the DC Multiverse line. They just had a lot of issues for me. It was not something that I could consistently rely on. I mean, I can't consistently rely on anything now that I'm finding out. It just wasn't something that they would announce a wave and they would announce a lineup and I could be like, oh, I can buy a majority of that wave and know that it's going to be fine. It was never the case. It was always one of these might be okay, not most of these will be okay. And I didn't like that, and so I didn't buy a lot of them, even though I have a couple. And then the last wave came in, and I would say that a majority of these were pretty good. You know, I just ripped on him, but I like KG Beast. I like their KG Beast. Their best one, in my opinion, is Alfred, and he's over there. But also pretty good. I really like their Red Robin. He's got double joints, which look a little weird. They look a little like broken up, like they just sculpted it first and then cut into it. But otherwise, he's got some good articulation. He's got ankle rockers. He's got double joints everywhere. No butterflies still, but look, I'm not expecting butterfly joints from DC Multiverse. He's pretty good, and I really like that we were at least able to get a quality Robin out of Multiverse before they shut their doors and they shut down. And I like Robin, and I'm not really posing him around too much, but you know, that's okay. And then that's it. And then DC figures stopped getting made. I wish. Oh man. So if you know anything about toy collecting, you know that DC is not done. They have recently been handed over to McFarlane Toys, and I'm not the biggest fan of McFarlane Toys. I used to really like his Halo stuff, and I really liked it because I was 12. Because I was too young to know what a good action figure was. And so those were not good, and they fell apart, and they were too small. And that's pretty much my only interaction with McFarlane. After that, he just made like statues. Before that, he just made statues. And I know he's been getting into better articulation recently, mainly from the Fortnite line. That's been the one that everybody's been saying, oh no, these are some good articulation schemes. Problem being is that I don't like Fortnite, so I haven't bought any of those. So DC was kind of like the one thing that I was waiting on. I was like, you know, okay, DC is what I'm looking forward to. So please don't fuck me, Todd. I don't want to be fucked. And at first he announced that it was going to be 6-inch, and I'm like, cool, maybe it'll go with my DC Icons, maybe it'll go with my Marvel Legends. But no, they're 7 inches, they're big boys. And I know I like big toys, but it's the wrong scale. I like them to be So anyway, I got this big chunkin' boy, mainly because I think he'll fit in my collection because he's just a suit of armor. I don't expect him to... I'm really disappointed in this line. I don't expect him to be scaled like he is with like in this same line the Batman that he goes with, they're like the same size, which is about, you know, to be expected for a guy in a suit of armor. But I'm gonna be treating this more like a big mech, you know, like the Thrasher suit. That's what this is gonna be like. So this is gonna be my actual reaction. I'm gonna open this thing up. I'm gonna give you my full opinion, however it is. So stay tuned. Oh Lord. I gotta rip into this thing. Okay. Oh. I like that wrist. Oh, he had butterflies. I did not know that. Oh, and there's just a little ball joint. He's got that DC Essentials knees, or ankles. Doesn't do a lot of crunch. But his head has a lot of movement. These, ooh, I'm not a fan of these really, but well, I don't like these. But I like this. Okay, wow. I didn't really expect to like this, but I kind of do. I'm kind of into it. He does have like the articulation on this. That's pretty cool. Wow. So he has those DC Essentials ankles, but they actually work. You know, he can stand pretty much anyway. Some of this stuff is pretty sharp, and I feel like I'm already getting like marks on myself, but that's okay. He's pretty cool. I cannot lie. I kind of like this thing. You know, I like that these are on little ball joints. I think that that's cool. He only has single elbows, but they get pretty deep. Like that's a little bit past 90, and you know, I don't really expect much from single elbows anyway. So that's cool that a single elbow does that. He's got butterfly joints. They don't do much, but he's got butterfly joints, and I'm always a sucker for butterfly joints. And of course, he's pretty big. He's not the biggest. I've had bigger, but he's pretty big. These blow. These suck. I hate these. They're flimsy, and I don't even know. He's got like these little like hexagon inserts into his back, and that's how they go in. And then you've got that, of course, doubled, but I'm not putting in the other one. And it's just, I don't like that. I'm gonna have to figure out something else for his cape. I don't know. Maybe someone will make a cloth goods thing. And then McFarlane includes this little stand, which I don't think he needs it. I'm too weak to break that. But overall, I like it. Still too big. Way too big. You know, like, I know that the Batman's like that big on him. And that's too big for a Batman. And plus, I don't really like the way that Batman looks. I mean, yeah, overall, I think he works. I think he's fine. I can't honestly say that there's anything else in this wave that I would get. But in the future, if Todd likes to focus on more big characters that work when they're so huge and massive, I might be interested. Like a Mr. Freeze, you know? Like I'd really like a Mr. Freeze in this line. I'm gonna I'm gonna call up Todd.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Todd.
What can I do for you today?
Well, actually, I had a favor I wanted to ask you.
Anything for you, Aaron.
Awesome. Hey, I was wondering if you could, in the next DC Multiverse wave, if you could possibly do a Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, I'm here. So you want another Batman, huh?
No, Todd.
Please. Fire up the Batman machines.
No, Todd. Just hold on a minute. I want a Mr.
Okay, give me the box. Yeah, okay.
Todd, I'm still here.
Come on, baby. Oh, yeah. There we go. Okay. Ooh, okay, your Batman's all ready.
Todd.
I got you. I can't make it to the phone right now, so leave a message after the beep, bitch.
I'm gonna stop calling Todd McFarlane. So yeah, as far as DC figures go, that's it. Basically, Storm Collectibles is starting their Injustice line. They just released Bane, but I've already got my Bane, so I didn't get him. I've got Lobo coming, but I don't know. He's not coming until February, I guess. I don't really know. I don't really know when they plan to release all this stuff that I want. But Mafex, however you pronounce Medicom's line, those are coming out with some DC stuff. They got Batman. They got like 3 Batman, and then they got Superman and Catwoman and all that stuff announced. So I'm excited for those. And those will be, you know, the actual scale that I collect. But other than that, DC kind of blows for me. I really like DC. I much prefer it to Marvel, just based on what I grew up with. And they've kind of screwed me on action figures. I thought DC Icons was ideal, and nobody else did, so they stopped making them. But that's okay. I got high hopes. I got high hopes that, you know, one day I'll have a good DC line. If Medicom, if Japanese company doesn't screw up my DC figures, that'll be ideal. But you know, maybe they do. Who knows? That's gonna be it for me today. I've been yelling enough about DC and DC accessories, so I'm gonna cut it. Y'all have a good day. I hope y'all like this new set. I like this new set. I don't have to rely on the fucking sun. Let me know in the comments if you like the set. And you know, you could like the video. You could subscribe if you wanted to. But I'm not gonna chew your ear off about it. So yeah, I hope y'all have a good day. Hope y'all collecting what you like. And do good, be good, drink your water. Woohoo! Let's not waste any more time. And these are all